Hi guys, welcome to the corner. It's Spanky, and we are going to work on the Where Are You From journal. So when I left off, we had finished doing all this. So today we're going to work on the spine, putting the holes in, so that way I can add, whoops, so I can add my signatures. I'm just adding plain white copy paper for my signatures, because I'm going to be covering them up with stuff sent from you guys. So, now that I threw my floss on the floor, so how I get started is I use floss, wax cording, a thicker thread. It's up to you what you use. This is just what I'm using for this. Baker's twine, book binding thread. It's totally up to you what you use. I have my binding needles here. So I got that ready. These clips are to help hold my pages together when I sew the signatures in. Also, I got my big paper clips to help hold in case those don't work. I have my beeswax to wax my thread. My book to make my holes so I don't poke nothing else that doesn't need to be poked. And I also made my template right here for where my holes are going to go. So what I did with this is I measured where I roughly want where I want it to sit on my spine, and I have a little under, just under 1/8 on each end, and it goes almost exactly to the edge, but just a hair under. Then I cut my paper down and I fold it in half, and I score it at the half mark and fold it in half. Then I open it back up and I take each edge, score it, and fold it, and same on that end. So that gives me my lines this way. Then I find the center. This is 2 inches. So I find my center, which is 1 inch, and I make a score line down. So that's my halfway mark. Then I go half of that and half of that. So that's where my other lines are. So this is going to have 3 signatures. I'm going to attempt 20 pages each. We will see. But I'm also thinking of adding other pages using like a rubber band to hold them in, depending on how much stuff I get, so there's going to be enough space in between each signature to do that. So, right now, I need to make my holes in the corners of each of these here. In the corners of those is the crosshairs, is where I'm going to make my holes. So I'm just going to take my pokey tool and poke down in there. And I labeled one top and one bottom so that way I know what's what. Squirrel's over here folding my papers for me. He can say hi, I'll let him.
Hi.
He's actually going to have to make himself one of these if he wants to partake in it. Or he can use a composition book, whatever, that's up to him. But I should make him make us from scratch, like so.
Well, you already showed me how to do the one with
We did the little one, but a bigger one's a little different because this is made differently. But yes. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes going up and down. It's a little more than I normally use. I might actually just do... I think I'm just going to do the 3, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep this for future pieces anyways. So I'm not going to worry about these center holes right here. So we're just going to, in the middle section, we're going to do Let's see. 1, 2. Alright, so we're gonna do the 3, so I need a. Can you hand me the white pen inside that, the cup? Please. So, happy Memorial Day, you guys. And yes, thank you. Hope you had a good day. I had to work today. Sale day, they decided today, of all days. And it was scorching hot. It was so hot today. Alright, so the 3 dots that I circled are the ones I'm going to do. I'm just going to go with doing 3 by 3. But I will keep this for future because I usually do a little more. But I'm just going to do the 3 on this. I am going to add a charm on this. So I will be poking a hole in the top of my box. The top of my piece here. So I've got my crocodile, my big bite. And I'm going to have it go about a 1/2 inch down. So, say right about there. Right about there. I gotta remember I'm not at my other desk, so I kinda gotta like... Whoa! Sorry. I just looked forward. Ah. Ooh, that was scary. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, and we're going to poke a hole. That's the big one, and we need this one, right? Yes, I think this is the one I want. So we're just going to line that up. Like so. Oh! Whoa, that was a big old one. This is a thick piece, so... I do have... Whoa, shoot. My chair keeps flipping over. I might have to switch chairs. Okay, yep, I needed the bigger hole. Should have went with the first one. Let's try this again. I got my hole made already, so I'll just line that up around it. There we go. Slap that baby up in there. Hopefully that's enough to go through. Oh, whoops. I always forget. You want to turn this back when you're gonna use it for this. Well, it crimped most of it. You can get it all the way through. This is really thick, so I'll make sure it doesn't pop back out. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It don't look like it's going to go anywhere, so we're done with that. Let's move that out of the way. Hope you guys are all staying nice and cool. So I'm going to put this on here where I want it. And then I'm going to use my clips I have. Let's see here. That's about right. So I'm going to use a clip here at the bottom. And a clip up at the top to help hold this in place. And I'm going to lay this across here. Make sure this is lined up again before I start. You don't want it to move on you. So now that I know where my holes are, I'm just going to go through and where the circle, where I circled them, I can zoom in. Give me a second here. Zoom in here. There we go. Hopefully it's not too choppy. You guys can see it okay. So we're going to poke. Make sure that's poked through. Yes, it poked through. So I'm just going to go through and poke all the way through this. I'm doing it from this angle because I want the... When you poke through, it leaves like a rugged edge on the other side. I want that on the inside, and I'll take care of it once I'm done with this. I use sandpaper and rough it up a little bit, but it's just how I'm doing it. You want to put something underneath so you don't poke nothing that you shouldn't be poking. Because this will leave a mark. So there's my 3 holes on each section, 1, 2, and 3. And it goes through to the other side. Now what I'll do is just stick this through like so. You can see the top of it coming up there. I just press it through. Let me zoom back out a little bit here. I just press it through so I can see it. So then I'll go through both sides where the holes are. And watch your finger so you don't get your finger on the other side. Just so I can make sure I can see the hole from either side for when I sew my signatures. Sometimes it's hard to find them holes once you on the other side, so there we go. That's done. Now I know this is the top because I had this on the top and that was the bottom. So we'll set that off to the side for now. I got the foam book because I'm going to use that. Do you have another set of 10, please? Thank you. Oh, let's see how well this looks. Yeah. So this has quite a bit of an overhang on these. So what I'm going to do is trim those. I think. Let me see here. Maybe. No, I don't think I'm going to trim those. I think I'm going to just leave them like that. So, yeah. So now I got all these together. I'm going to use my big clips. And this is going to hold them in place so they don't shift around. Because you want that crease to stay in the center there. So, you don't want it to move around on you. And I stick it inside the edge of a book, like so. And what I'll do is, I'll decide where my top is. So this is going to be my top. So I'm going to mark each signature with a T. And this is my center. So I'm going to figure out where I want, how much space on the top and bottom. And I roughly want a 1/4 inch on each edge. It's just over 1/4. So we're going to go let's see here. We're just over 3/4 on each edge. So it's going to be even there. So then I'm going to put another paper clip here, and that's just going to hold this in place there. And before I start poking, I will measure again just to make sure I have it where I want it, because you only get one chance if you don't want to mess up your project. So that on that edge, and we're good on that edge. So sorry. It's still really hot in here, and I'm so overheated from work yet. Ah, come here. Goodness. Alright, so excuse me. Whew. Okay, so now I got that moved a little bit so it's easier for me. Let's see if I can move it down a little bit more. Wrong way. Yeah, that's about as far as that's going. So, this is where I want it. I want to keep it like this. So I'm going to bend this up. And where my holes are, I'm going to push this down in there and make my holes in my signatures. You can see it poked through. And then just to get enough on each edge. Now I will pull my center piece out, keeping these two paper clips or clips, whatever you use, intact still, to make sure I got my holes here. And I just want to make sure my holes are lined up. So I'm taking that out. We're just going to press this again. And I just want to make sure I'm through. You can use whatever you want to make these holes. I have this awl and another awl. It's not as wide. So there's one signature. And this one was in the middle because I used the middle one. So I'll keep this as top and I'll put middle. Actually, we'll just do number 2. So that'll be number 2. Can I have 2 more sets of 10, please? Whoops. Let me pull them clips off because that's done. Thank you. And we're going to repeat the process here. You can have as many signatures as you want if you're not sure what a signature is. A signature is more than like a couple sheets of paper, like so, sewn into your book. When you get certain reading books that you read, certain ones you can tell that are sewn in, some aren't, some are glued. But they go in like sets. Each, it could contain however many pieces of paper. There's several different ways of binding your signatures in, sewing them in. Sea Lemon, she's very good in showing different techniques, many different techniques. Love her videos. She's very explanatory on how she does what she does. And she explains it very good on how the different processes of how she binds and how to bind. So if you haven't, go check out her channel. And I'll leave her link in the description box below, so you can find her there also. Stick those on there like so. And this one we're going to do the first one, so we're going to make my fold here on my first one. Right there. So this will be the first one. So this one's going to be top 1. And I'm going to stick that in there just like so. And remember to line up your edge just a tad. So you can, not just a tad, but be sure to mark your center of your paper, because this overhangs. So you want the same amount on each end. And we're good. So now I'm going to push that down in the edge there. And I'm going to put my paper clip down. Just like so. Making sure to keep that pressed down in that center. Make sure that's the top. Make sure this is my top. If you don't line them up right, it won't line up right on your base. So if I was to flip this the other way, this piece, if I was to have this bottom up here, and I was to sew it in, these holes might not line up. It happens. So you got to watch which way you're going about doing that. Show that down in the edge there. Just gonna poke through a little bit there Poke through there and find that one and poke through there. And then we're going to remove the center. Like so. Check the other side, make sure you went through. And I am going to press a little bit more. Just make sure I got a good to work with to get my needle through that spine. So there's the first one. And will you hand me the other set, please? I need the fan over here. No, will you turn that one up? I'm going to switch my chair real quick, though. I'll be right back, guys. Hang on. I need to quit sitting on my legs. And you just tripped over Pixie? Almost. I think you did. You avoided her? Okay. You can oscillate it. That'll be alright. Oscillate, whatever you call it. Okay, that's better. No, I don't. I have to sit on my knees. Oh, shit. Shoot. Crap. Whoops. I can get out of my way. Will you move that, please? The spray bottle. Just knocking shit over. We want the table somewhere, just not up there. Thank you. Oh, my legs hurt from sitting on them. Bad habits. Need a break. So this one's going to be top 3. So now we're going to fold this other end, and that's going to be our guide for this side. So first thing, get your pages lined up right. Squirrel's watching Star Wars. Oh, it's not Star Wars now? What is it? The Great Escape? Okay. Put some real TV on. Just kidding. And no, don't be putting on HGTV. None of that. I don't want to hear the TV. How old is that? Like 200 years old?
1963.
Jesus. Pixie Louise! Spank her bottom right there.
Hey. No.
She's like, watch it. Squirrel and Pixie are naughty. Pixie was naughty because of Squirrel. Don't look at me like that. Are you trying to remember what you did? He forgot to take care of the dinner last night. That was on the table when I ran down to my mom's for a minute. And Pixie got on the table and ate my dinner. Yeah. But he learned. And Pixie learned too because she was constipated since. But she probably pooped. Pixie! Hey! Knock it off. No, just because there's people outside does not mean you have to go out there. So we're going to put those there. What'd you do? Oh yeah, she likes her hair being brushed. Put this on and then I will push it down into where it's got to go. Make sure it's down there in the groove. And then I'm going to make sure my edges are lined up properly. There we go. Make sure I'm at the top. Make sure I got the top here, the top there. Fold these up. Like so, and press in. Press in. There. And we will remove that. Pixie! So we will put this up on the side. Pixie goes and gets trimmed tomorrow. Are you trying to brush her butt? Oh. Yeah, she doesn't like, well, she doesn't bother her when I do it, but she doesn't really like her back end around her butt. Or... Pixie! Settle down, get brushed. You want brushed? There you go. So there's our signatures. And I love my jumbo paper clips. I have many of them. I got a bunch of them at a yard sale and then a thrift store. So yeah. So we're done with this big old phone book here. Dixie, Lord. She doesn't want you to brush her. Well, she doesn't want you to touch her. She's being an ass. Excuse you. Alright, so I'm going to use embroidery floss for this. And a rule of thumb, you want more than what you're going to use. So what I do, I'm adding a charm on here, so I'm not going to have any extra dangle on the back or on this side here, because I'll tie it off in the center. So I'm going to start in the center. I'm going to go one around and back down around, and that'll be one. So that's pretty much all I'll use, but it's always good to have extra. Come on, get off of it. It's always good to have extra than little, because you can always cut away, you can't add to it. So we're going to go around twice. So I'm just going to end right back up where I started. Right there. So that's how much I'll cut off for the first one. Pixie wants out. So give me a second and I will be right back. Make sure I get that there. I will be right back. Okay, and I'm back. We're going to move these out of the way for a second. Keeping them in the order they gotta go. Get my needle, my wax. So what I'm going to do is, you can get this at Walmart Joann's, the threading section. Just gonna run that in there and hold it tight and slide it through. I'm gonna do this a couple times. Waxing it just helps it slide through the paper easier, in case you're wondering. Push it down in there. I always go through a few times. Just make sure it's got a good coating all around it. And that's it. And I'm going to pick my needle. And this one here. I'm really good at threading needles. Didn't take no time. So we're going to start with the first signature. And I'm going to use these to help hold the pages so they don't flop around on me. Oh, excuse me. We had hamburgers and potato salad and a salad for dinner. And it hit the spot, let me tell you. Alright, so since I'm going to tie it off in the middle, I'm going to start in the middle on my signature. I'm going to poke it through, and this is top one, so make sure my book is lined up right, top. And I'm going to go in the first set of holes here. I'm going to take this off for now, because that's just going to be in my way. So let's move that here. Alright, so we're going to go through the middle. If I can find it again. Right through the middle. And I'm going to leave overhang, just so it doesn't fall out on me. And I'm going to run it through the top hole on this side. And sometimes it's hard to find your hole on the signature here. If you keep, sometimes it goes in easy, sometimes you kind of have to feed it through page by page. We'll see how this one's going to play. This one's going to be hard. I'm trying to get in view here. Let me zoom in. That's close and personal right there. Almost got all the way through. I got most of it. Let's see how far we went. It's hard to get it at the angle to get right through it. We're just going to split this and see how far. I almost got most of it. I got all but a little bit. So we're just going to pull that away, push that through a little bit, and then pull that away and work its way through there. And there we go. If you used tape on your spine or whatever, your needle will get sticky, and that's where I'm having an issue. Could you get me the alcohol, please, and a paper towel? Please, thank you. So then what I'm going to do is this is going to stay here. This needs to stay there. So I'm going to watch what I'm doing. I'm going to bring it all the way up into that top hole. And we're going to go up, make sure you're in the right line. And we're going to go right up into that next hole there. And push it through. Thank you. And then we're going to pull that. Like so. And then we're going to come down. This is where it gets tricky. I didn't want to pull that one yet. Hang on. Let me pull some more of that through there. I don't want to pull this yet. Make sure that I got all the extra there that I need. So then we're going to go back up through this hole on the middle, but you want to be careful you don't get any of that thread or your string or whatever you're using to bind. You want to be careful so your needle does not puncture that thread. So I'm going to hold that taut up against that side there while I press this needle through. It went easier. Now going through the center of your paper is going to be a little trickier, but you can do it. I got faith in you. So we're going to just follow that right straight through, and it went right through. Now what I want to do is this middle one, because this string is on that side, so I want my other string to be on the other side. So we're just going to put that underneath my needle like so. And finish shoving that through. Like that. And now, see, I have this extra, which is fine. I would rather have extra than not enough. I'm going to pull this thread. Let me see which one it is. Underneath. Okay, that one. I'm just going to pull it to about there. So I have just a little bit. And then I'm going to tighten all the rest of this. Holding that one tight in the middle. Turn my book up. Make sure I'm tightening it the right way. I want that tight. See? You don't want this to be loose. You want that to be tight. So you just work with it. And be careful so you don't rip your pages, because that'll happen. You just work with it. Once you got it pretty tight, open it, or not open it, close it, and just move your threads and see how loose that is. If it's too loose, you want to tighten it some more. So we're just going to pull it there a little bit, pull it there some more, and I think I'm happy with that. So now I'm just going to knot this, a real tight knot. Now you can leave this extra in the middle and hang like a punched out heart or a punch out of something or a charm saw bit. I knot it 3 times. Get a nice knot in there. Trim my threads. I'm not going to hang nothing off the insides of these, so I'm going to trim my threads. Not at the knot, but just close enough. And then I'm going to add a dab of Glossy Accents on there to help secure that knot. Oh, maybe not that one. This Glossy Accent's a little jacked up. We're going to try this other one. There we go. Just a little bit on that knot. There we go. And our first signature is in. It seems like it's difficult at first, but it's not. You'll get the hang of it, and it's a breeze. And I do have this extra, but I'm going to keep that because I can use that for something else. I'm going to clean my needle, because if you watched my previous videos of making my cover, I have double-sided tape under there, which is causing my needle to be sticky. So I'm just going to spray it with some alcohol here, and we're just going to clean my needle off. And if your needles seem dull, you can take a wad of aluminum foil and scrunch it up and just dab your needle into it, and it will sharpen your needle. There we go. And we're good. No more stickiness. Alright, we're good. So let's put this up on the side. I'm going to hit my knot right there with the heat gun for a second. Get that dried, so give me a second here. Here we go. And that page is done. There we go, there's one. Easy peasy. Let me zoom out, so then I can work on the next one. And I'm going to use my jumbo clips here. I think I got these at the Dollar Tree, but I'm going to use those to hold the signature back while I work on the next one. So I'm going to get my string. One, two, three. Cut that, move that up on the side, and where's my wax? Let's run it through the wax. Whoops. And just be careful when you're tying those in, because you don't want to rip your paper. Depending on how thick your paper is, it might rip when you're trying to tighten it. So just go slow and tug. You don't have to tug hard on it. Just go slow and you'll get it. Alright, there we go. That's done. Right through the needle again. And now we're going to work on the second one. And that's going to go in the second batch of holes. Make sure your book's right, which you should do before you do the first one. Make sure your signatures are all facing the right way. I label mine just for this purpose because I don't want it, oops, because I've done it. I put it in the wrong signature in the wrong spot. That's okay. I think my tassel, if I hang a charm on here, it might bug that, but I think it'll be okay. Just, you gotta be careful where you put things. So, my charm's not gonna have a metal hook or nothing. It's just gonna be a chain, a thin chain hanging off, and then the charm will hang on the other side. So that'll be okay for me. So I went through the middle because I'm gonna tie it off in the middle. So now I'm gonna, it doesn't matter which way you go, up or down. I'm just gonna go to the bottom there. Getting view here, sorry. Run that through. And my needle's already sticky again. So run that through there and back out the top. See, the more you do it, the faster it'll get. So just work at it. Do that. Get my cord through there. Yeah, and the more you do, the more you'll feel, you know, it becomes a breeze, and you won't struggle as much either. Right through, and make sure I'm on the other side of that string in the middle. And there you go. Pull the needle out. I'll let Squirrel clean this while I'm tying it off. Thank you. So we're going to pull that down. Make sure this is tight. Flip it over, check the tightness. I'm going to wrap my finger around that. Once you wax it, it gets a little loosey-goosey. Pull that tight and then pull that one through. There we go. And it's good. Make sure it's tight. And we're going to knot it. 1, 2, and 3. Trim it down there just above the knot. You want to see how far I trim it. The knot is there. And it's just above the knot. That's how far I trim it. Smooth that string out of the way and add a little glossy accent here. That's just to help the knot so it doesn't come unraveled. Now you can, the same concept if you use different size papers, just use clips, binder clips, paper clips, whatever you have to hold your papers together if you use different sizes. And then just keep them in place and be careful as you're going through. Sometimes you can only do 2 or 3 pages at a time. That's fine. I'm doing this one solid pages so that way I can add more to the pages rather than, you know, if they send me paper, I can decorate the whole thing with the paper they send or whatever. And so that's done. And if you did it properly, when you hold your book like so and your pages go together like this, there won't be no overhang on the sides. They'll line up exactly right on the sides, like so. And then we clip it and work on the next one. So we get the thread, find the end here. We'll go 1, 2, 3. That's easier to do it than wrapping it around the book. I don't know why I didn't think of that the first time. Then we wax the thread. Now you can wax all your thread at once instead of doing it like I do it. This is just how I'm doing it. I think I need a new wax ball. Gotta rotate it. It's been used and abused. Hope everybody had a good day today and a good weekend. We had fun yesterday. We did our first mixed media mashup yesterday. I've watched several videos, live streams, people doing the mashups. I love watching them. Mine, I just really never got into doing it, or just, I did one time with my daughter. We did it. Hers turned out awesome. I was trying to look for it, but it's somewhere still in the box packed, I think. But she loved doing it. It was fun. And then, but so this was pretty much technically my very first, like, doing my own thing. Squirrel's first time doing anything like that. So, yes, we had fun. And there will be more, yes. And depending on the heat, this coming weekend, do an acrylic pour, but I'm not sure it will get done because it's supposed to be really hot again, and it's a lot of stuff to have out here if it's hot. So now we're gonna go in the middle one again. Slide it through. And my doesn't want to go through because of the tape in there. I'm using my glass mat. I'm pressing it down to help guide my needle through. Just be careful so you don't poke yourself. And that almost was a boo-boo. Keep my paper out. Keep my thread out some. We're going to go in this hole down here. Slide it through. And your pages will want to slide off like so. That's why you have that extra, so it doesn't go off completely. And hopefully this will slide through just as well as the other one did. We'll see. Yes, it did. Look at that. If you keep it bent and just slowly go through it, it should line. If they lined up properly, it should line up good, and you can just go right through it. So back up here to that one and through the bottom. And again, you want to keep it to where your bottom string does not go through, or the string through does not go back through that. So I am holding it on the inside and pressing up to make sure I don't get that other thread. And then the same for the inside. I'm going to hold my string down and push up a little bit to guide my needle in. Oops. There we go. Just to make sure I don't hit that other thread. And I did. Sometimes the more signatures you have, the harder it is to get your needle through the right spot. So I'm just going to slide my needle underneath here, and it's on that side. So now we're going to tighten my signatures up here, or my string. Make sure it's all nice and taut. Pull that. Let's see. Pull my needle out so I don't stab myself, because we all know I'm accident prone. I'm going to pull that as tight. See if I like it like that. Pull this. Still kind of loose there. Let me see here. Figure out which one's pulling. That one's there. That one there. And like so. And I'm gonna pull it tight. Be careful when you pull this, because sometimes this thread breaks. And that would not be good. So we're just gonna knot it 3 times. Like so. Trim it above the knot. And put a dab of glossy accents on it. You could use Fabri-Tac or whatever glue you want to use on the knot. If you want to glue your knot, that's up to you. See, if you look, I pulled a little too tight and it started to tear. But that could have also been because when I pressed my awl through it, this part of the awl is a little thicker than the tip, so that also has a play in that. So we're gonna take them off for now. I'm going to move these out of the way. I'm gonna dry that knot. Make sure this other one's not tacky. I'm gonna dry that. Squirrel. Can you get me a soda? Please? I don't know why I said squirrel. I could have said that. Are you still watching that Great Escape? Oh. What's it even about? Yeah.
POW camp.
Okay.
Back in
The war days. Thank you. Alright, so that's still a little tacky, but it's okay. And there we go. We have our signatures. And there's 20 pages per each signature, so that's 120 front and back, right? So 20, 40, 60, 120, no. 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 There's 60 pieces of paper. And it's folded in half, so that makes 120. So front and back would be 240 pages. Right? There's 4 sides. So 60 times 4, 240. I'm a smart cookie. So there we go. So now I'll go through and I can... That's a lot of pages in this. Go through and erase those. Like so. And there we go. That's it. So now what I need to do is the cover. And I'm going to put where you are from. And then I can start adding the tidbits I get from everybody. I've got some stuff from Lisa Beard. Carrie, little C, has sent me a few things. I've got stuff from Shell in Australia and Mumsy in Australia. So yes, excited. And I'm going to make a pocket for this front piece here, and it's going to have a list. So with everybody who sends me something, I can put their name in this. I might add an envelope, but that way I know everybody who I've already received from and who I can send to. So that's it. That's how you sew in your signatures. And these aren't loose. They're relatively nice and taut, whatever. My pages will lay somewhat open. I know it's going to get chunky. I'm sure it's going to get really chunky as it goes. This is actually a lot of pages for it. I could have done like 10 a piece. That probably would have been better. But we're happy with it. So we're going to add this back through. Maybe. I have a little journal, not a journal, but I think it's a world, like a, what is it called? A globe. That's it. I think I have a globe charm. So I'm gonna add that to this when I'm done. Put this side through. I might change my ribbon as I go. Haven't decided. I'm going to tie this in a knot for now, like, well, not a knot, but like so. And that's that. And if you want to know how I folded my papers, I'll have Squirrel hand me my things real quick and I can show you. Here's this, so if you clean that again for me, please. So I used regular copy paper. And, whoops, sorry. How I do it is I take my scoreboard or something with a flat edge and I line my paper up to it, push it up, and I crease it down in the center and over one side and then over the next. And after I do about 10 of them or so, I go through and bone fold them either together, like a couple at a time, make sure they're all nice and crisp. And then I stick 10 together, and that's it. Sorry for shaking this. This table is wobbly today. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will, the next part I do I'll try and get that video done. I might get it uploaded this week. We'll see what goes on. I'll do my cover. I'm still thinking of what to do, but like how I want to go about that. But yeah, so that's it, and then we'll have a couple of videos of me doing the inside. When I get stuff, I'll start putting it together. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!